To Chase Whitmore and his boys, it was just another day of strutting around town, laughing at farm trash like they owned the county. But this time, they picked the wrong sisters, and the price for their little game was about to get very real. At the crack of dawn, the Carter sisters walked their usual farm path, feed buckets clanking against their knees. It should have been another simple morning. Roosters crowing, Grandma Rose humming, the air thick with promise. But then a cloud of dust rose from the road, and Chase Whitmore's shiny pickup came crawling by like a predator circling its prey. His mocking voice cut the air, calling them farm trash, while his buddies laughed loud enough to scare the hens. Naomi's knuckles whitened around her bucket, and Nia whispered for her to ignore it. But everyone watching knew. It wasn't just words anymore. It was a spark, and sparks always find fire. Before we go any further, comment where in the world you are watching from and make sure to subscribe because tomorrow's story is one you don't want to miss. The morning sun stretched long shadows across the Carter farm as Naomi and Nia pressed on with their chores. Overalls patched and worn, buckets heavy with feed, they carried themselves with quiet pride. Nia scattered grain with a gentle call, laughing softly as the hens clucked and pecked at her feet. Naomi, sharper in her movements, kept scanning their surroundings, her dark eyes always alert. In the field beyond, Grandma Rose bent low among the beans, her weathered hands testing the soil with the patience of someone who had worked the land a lifetime. She hummed an old tune that drifted across the breeze, steady as a heartbeat. "Land's looking good this season," Naomi said, trying to shake off the sting of Chase's mockery. Their farm wasn't big or flashy like the Whitmores, but every row was planted with grit and stubborn love. Still, Chase's voice clung to the air like smoke. The boy's truck had kicked up more than dust. It had stirred something inside Naomi, something dangerous. Her sister tried to soften the mood, pointing out the squash and Grandma's heirloom tomatoes, but Naomi's jaw stayed tight. Hate, she thought, was heavy to carry. Yet when those boys came back, and they always came back, she knew she'd be ready. The afternoon sun pressed down like a hammer when Nia set out with her grandmother's old delivery basket. Tomatoes, lettuce, squash, herbs, each bundle wrapped with the same gentle care she wished the world would show their family. She walked the dusty road back toward the barn, sweat sliding down her temple. She was tired but proud, until the crunch of gravel froze her in her tracks. Low laughter drifted across the air. And then came the voices. Chase Whitmore, Kyle Bennett, Travis Miller, Ethan Clark. 4 shadows stepping out from behind the barn, blocking every way out. Can you imagine the dread of knowing you're cornered, with nowhere to run? Well, look who we found. The little delivery girl, Chase drawled, his voice dripping with false sweetness. Nia clutched the basket tight to her chest. "I need to get back," she stammered, but her back was already pressed to the rough barn wall. That's when Chase grabbed her shirt, yanking her forward, eyes blazing with cruel delight. "You think you're special with your little organic vegetables?" He slammed her against the boards. The wood scraped her back raw. Before she could even cry out, Kyle knocked the basket from her hands. Tomatoes burst across the dirt like blood. And of course, the boys laughed. Because what's more entertaining to bullies than ruining something you worked hard for? "Get your phone out," Travis barked at Ethan. And just like that, the camera was rolling. Because humiliating her wasn't enough. They wanted an audience. Nia begged softly, "Please, just let me go." But Chase shoved harder, and then came the word, the ugly racial slur that made her flinch harder than the pain. "Shut your mouth, you don't belong here." Travis's foot lashed out, kicking her ribs. She gasped, the air stolen from her lungs. Another kick, then another, and Chase held her upright so she couldn't even fall. Can you believe the cruelty? 4 boys, 1 girl, and they still needed to record it like some twisted trophy. Her vegetables scattered, her ribs screamed with each blow, and her tears fell into the dirt as the phone captured everything. When they were done, Chase crouched beside her, whispering like a snake, "Tell your family this land belongs to real Americans." His buddies laughed, the camera clicked off, and they walked away, leaving her broken, bloodied, and curled in the dirt. But here's the thing about humiliation. It doesn't end where they think it does. Because Nia wasn't alone for long. Footsteps came running, and the look on Naomi's face when she found her sister, that wasn't fear. That was rage. Inside the farmhouse, the oil lamp flickered shadows across the faded furniture. Nia lay on the couch, her face swollen, her ribs wrapped in cloth soaked pink with blood. Every wince made Naomi's chest burn hotter. Grandma Rose tended her wounds with calm hands, but her eyes carried storms. Naomi, though, she couldn't sit. She paced the wooden floor, boots striking like war drums. Can you blame her? They filmed it, Nia whispered, her voice cracking. Ethan recorded everything. They're probably laughing about it right now. Naomi spun around, fists clenched so tight her knuckles looked bone white. Cowards, she hissed. 4 against 1, and they think they can just walk away? But then Grandma Rose's warning voice cut through. Mind that temper, child. Easier said than done. Naomi's head filled with every memory. Chase throwing rocks at their chickens. Kyle crushing their farm stand under his truck tires. Teachers looking away while the boys shoved Nia's books in the mud. It was years of humiliation condensed into one boiling point. Her eyes locked on her sister, broken and trembling. Listen to me, Naomi said, kneeling beside her. This will never happen again. I swear it on everything we are. But Nia shook her head weakly. Naomi, you can't fight the whole world. That's when Naomi leaned closer, her voice like steel. Watch me. Later that night, Naomi stood in front of her cracked bedroom mirror. The glass split her reflection into fragments like even the mirror couldn't contain what she was becoming. She tied her thick hair back tight, every move deliberate. Her eyes were cold now, unrecognizable even to herself. Tomorrow, she whispered to her fractured reflection. Tomorrow, I teach them a lesson. And when dawn broke, she didn't step out as Naomi. She stepped out dressed in Nia's pale blue work shirt, shoulders hunched, feet dragging, imitating her sister's shy posture. Because what's the easiest way to catch a predator? You bait the trap. The sound of Chase's truck came roaring down the road, music blaring, boys laughing, right on schedule. They thought it was another easy morning of torment. But Naomi wasn't prey anymore. She was the storm they never saw coming. Chase's boots hit the dirt first, swaggering like he owned the road. Didn't you learn your lesson yesterday, farm trash? He sneered, yanking Naomi's shoulder to spin her around. She kept her head low, lip trembling like Nia would, every move part of the act. Kyle cracked his knuckles. Travis smirked. Ethan raised his phone to record. 4-on-1 again, only this time, the game had changed. Naomi let them shove her, let herself stumble in the mud. Blood from her split lip dripped onto the dirt. She shook as if broken, but inside every muscle was coiled like a spring. Look at her, Kyle laughed, already crying. They leaned in closer, convinced she was helpless. Isn't it wild how arrogance blinds bullies? Then it happened. Chase grabbed her chin, forcing her to look up, spitting venom. You're weak just like your people. Always have been. Always will be. Naomi's eyes snapped up, blazing like fire, catching dry straw. She spat blood on his white sneakers and growled, You really shouldn't have done that. In an instant, everything flipped. Kyle lunged, but Naomi stepped into his charge, using his weight to slam him flat on his back. The air shot from his lungs, down for the count. Travis swung aboard, wild and sloppy. She ducked, trapped his arm, twisted, and had him screaming on the ground. Chase rushed in, fists flying, but Naomi's body moved like water, flipping him into the dirt and snapping his wrist with precision. His scream tore through the field. Silence, only Kyle gasping, Chase whimpering, Travis frozen, Ethan dropping his phone in shock. Naomi rose, streaked in mud and blood but unshaken. You touch my sister again, she said, stepping forward, and you'll crawl out of here, or you won't leave at all. That threat hung in the air like thunder before a storm. And just like that, the predators scattered. Ethan bolted first, the others stumbling after him, dragging Chase toward their truck. Tires screeched, dust rose, and Naomi stood tall, victorious in the morning sun. Later that evening, the kitchen smelled of stew and home, but the crunch of tires outside shattered the peace. Sheriff's deputies zoning violation papers, Mr. Whitmore smirking like a snake, false charges, threats to sell the farm. The system was stacked against them. But Grandma Rose's voice cut through the fear like steel. We're not leaving. This land is ours, paid for in full, with sweat and blood. And she was right. because the Carter sisters weren't victims anymore. The town could whisper, the Whitmores could scheme, but everyone had seen what happened in that field. Naomi had shown them, loud, clear, undeniable, that the Carter family wasn't going anywhere. Share this story if you believe justice can't be bought, and make sure you're subscribed because the next fight is just beginning.